Local 22 News starts now with your forecast first.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Remember how yesterday we were talking about how there was going to be a sharp temperature cutoff across especially the North Country? Well, look at this. It's 72 in Middlebury, it's 49 in Plattsburgh, it's 50 in Burlington, it's warmer in St. Johnsbury right now than it is in the Champlain Valley. How often does that happen? 72 in Lebanon, 74 in Bennington, Messina. It is cold and raw, rain, and 44. That front, it's not going to move much tonight. It may shift a little bit east and south for the rest of the evening, but then as the night goes on, it shifts back to the north and west. And where that frontal boundary is, why I'm making a big deal of it, is because that's where the heaviest rain is going to be located. And still thinking in northwest Vermont and northern New York. Temperatures will be falling in some places, especially in the North Country. It may actually rise a little bit in others. Either way, we're staying well above freezing with rain through the overnight and a flood risk for tonight and tomorrow. And then a better Easter Sunday. We start now on Local 22 News at 6.
The manner versus cause of death. Emails reveal the city wanted the state to get involved following a Burlington man's death. What we've learned.
Plus, an out-of-this-world experience, how seniors are getting a getaway from their real-life surroundings.
And the Easter Bunny burden, how to keep your Easter pet-friendly this year.
From WVNY, this is Local 22 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Maloney.
And I'm Glenn Cassie. Happy Friday, everyone out there. Well, the rain we talked about all week looks like it's finally upon us and things are going downhill fast.
Chief Meteorologist Sean Parker joining us live from the Weather Center tonight. Sean, the big question, we're just at the start of this really, but are we seeing river rises yet?
Yeah, because it was so warm today, Lauren, all the snow that's still locked in the mountains is flowing down into our rivers. And so far the rises have been gradual, but as rain starts this evening, rivers will rise more sharply. Still have a flood watch for everybody who can hear my voice right now through Sunday. New York and Vermont, it goes through noon on Sunday. New Hampshire, it goes through 6. The heaviest of rain falls tonight and early tomorrow morning. I'm going to go through a bunch of rivers here, so pay attention. East River, the east branch of the AuSable River at AuSable Forks, it's going to be in minor flood stage by tomorrow morning, moderate flood stage by tomorrow afternoon, below flood stage Saturday night and Sunday morning. The Passumpsic River, that's what I'm concerned about because it's forecast to get well into moderate flood stage. This is the type of flooding that can inundate low-lying areas and state highways that run close to the roads. All interests in and around St. Johnsbury, Lyndonville, Passumpsic have to keep a very close eye on that. The Lamoille River, this is a recipe that still will likely lead to the closure of the Wrong-Way Bridge at some point on Saturday, perhaps Saturday night. It's expected to reach moderate flood stage by 8 p.m. on Saturday. The Winooski River at Essex Junction, it's going to spend the better part of Saturday afternoon and Saturday night in minor flood stage, falling below flood stage by the time we hit Sunday night. The Connecticut River at Dalton, New Hampshire, that's going to keep on rising and spend most of Saturday night and Sunday in minor flood stage. And finally, Lake Champlain, going to spend most of the first part of the weekend, that being Saturday and Sunday morning, below flood stage. But as rivers swell and flow into the lake by Sunday afternoon, it is more than likely that minor flooding occurs right along the immediate lake shore. And that's the type of flooding that can inundate low-lying areas right along the immediate shore and perhaps cover some decks and docks and piers and things like that. So peak flooding, expected to happen Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Things get better by Easter Sunday. And the weather at this point looks pretty good. We'll talk more about it in a few minutes. Glenn.
All right, thank you, Sean. Police are looking for someone they said started the fire at Easy Access Storage in Milton back on March 8th. The Milton Police Department's investigation showed 36-year-old Jesse Kreller illegally entering the property and trying to gain access to one of the storage units there. They say his actions sparked a fire which caused severe damage to approximately 20 units. You're taking a look at some of that damage now on your screen. Police said their attempts to locate Kreller have been unsuccessful and a warrant has been issued for his arrest. They request that anyone with information give them a call. And according to emails obtained by Local 22, Burlington Mayor Moreau Weinberger's office attempted to delay the release of autopsy results on a man who died just days after an altercation with a Queen City cop.
And this came after Police Chief Brandon Del Pozo questioned the health department's findings. Local 22's Spencer Conlon has been looking into this all day. Spencer, what are you learning about how state officials might have felt about this?
Well, good evening, Lauren and Glenn. These emails, which were first uncovered by VT Digger, show a series of conversations between Burlington city leaders and members of Governor Phil Scott's administration who appear to be frustrated over Chief Del Pozo's apparent reoccurring conduct. It seems Burlington city leaders wanted to hold off on releasing the autopsy results of Douglas Kilburn, who was found dead, police say, days after he was punched and subdued by a city cop. At issue, the manner and cause of death. Police Chief Brandon Del Pozo questioned the health department on the homicide ruling.
Spent a fair amount of time, discussing terminology from the medical examiner's point of view and how that's different from what would go on in a court proceeding.
Emails show Mayor Moreau Weinberger's chief of staff reached out to the governor's office on the matter. Staff members described it as an energetic effort to have the release delayed.
Death certificates were these simple ironclad things that would be on reproach. Forensic pathologists would be out of business and there would be no TV shows.
In one email to members of Governor Phil Scott's administration, Public Safety Commissioner Tom Anderson wrote, "We have had to repeatedly advise Del Pozo that he has recused his department from the investigation. For him now to again be inserting himself in this matter is very troubling." The chief says it came down to checks and balances.
There's always some leeway for asking questions, and we have a responsibility here in Burlington to make sure that if something impacts our city and our community and our police department, that it's done right and that we understand why it's done right.
Del Pozo questioned the standard used by the medical examiner. That's why he says he reached out to Vermont Health Commissioner Dr. Mark Levine. Levine says this is the first time he's experienced such questioning by law enforcement.
We're kind of in a mode of always asking each other questions about things and trying to learn from each other. It wasn't like he was directly putting pressure on me to change it or to sort of go down the chain of command and say this has to change.
The report was eventually released hours after the request came in from the mayor's office, after the governor's chief of staff wrote in an email that it did not feel right to intervene. The chief medical examiner did not determine a cause of death, saying there may have been a number of contributing factors, including heart disease, diabetes, or skull fractures he suffered during the altercation with police.
I had no reason to even question any of the opinions that would come out of the office or any of the decisions that would come out of the office.
Now, the investigation in Mr. Kilburn's death is still ongoing. Vermont State Police is leading that investigation. Live in the newsroom tonight, Spencer Conlon, back to you.
Spencer, police pulled a 2-year-old girl from the White River in Chelsea earlier this afternoon. According to the Valley News, the girl was taken to Gifford Medical Center. CPR was also done. The report shows the girl went into the river, most likely from behind her home in Chelsea. We don't know how long she was in the water.
The Williston Police Department is investigating what they say appears to be an accidental death. They say 52-year-old Daniel Gomez's body was found at a recycling center earlier today. Gomez was last known to be living in the Burlington area and sleeping in a dumpster prior to the discovery. His death is believed to be accidental. And Vermont State Police are asking for the public's help in locating a resident of Kirby House in Waterbury who left the facility unexpectedly late yesterday afternoon. Police say 40-year-old Todd Milhoit, there on your screen, frequents the Barre Montpelier areas via public transportation. He doesn't have access to a cell phone or a vehicle. Kirby House is an assisted living facility, and police say Milhoit's health conditions are a cause for concern. He's described as 5'8", approximately 288 pounds. He was last seen wearing green Hawaiian shorts. Anyone with information to his whereabouts is asked to contact the Vermont State Police Middlesex Barracks.
Vermont's unemployment rate is the lowest it's ever been since monthly records began. We are talking 2.3%. The Labor Department estimates 7,971 Vermonters were unemployed last month. The Labor Commissioner said unadvertised job openings appear to be growing in the state.
Well, sometimes we all need a little escape from reality every now and then, right?
Of course.
Well, coming up, we'll show you how some New York seniors are getting a 360-degree experience.
And bunny business. It may be the easy answer for Easter, but they require more upkeep than you might be bargained for.
Plus, speaking of Easter, look at this, Sunday afternoon, 60s, but we do get through a flood risk first, and we'll be upper 60s to near 70 with rain on Easter. We'll talk more about that and our flood risk in just a few minutes.